to Don't Stop the Flow, my hip hop story, basically celebrating hip hop's going to be 50 years old, yo. Shout out, man. You know what I mean? This is amazing, man. Once again, we had no idea that it would get to this point, man, which is a beautiful thing, man. All nationalities, all countries, it's the flyest shit ever. You know what I'm saying? So this is my hip hop story. Just to recap, episode 1, I talked about just certain elements leading up to me being the way I am and still having a love for this hip hop thing. You know what I'm saying? And just the culture of it. Me from writing graffiti to dancing to playing the drums with Pumpkin, to Greg Ski, meeting him becoming my DJ, Walk the 45 King, Robbie Rock, all of that. So I think when I left off, I got kicked out of Sonic Sound, which was the Mark of 45 King. Shout out. So I joined a crew called a Fearsome Crew. And it was brothers, man. It was Courtney Layton, Kenny, who was my best friend, Ernest Allen, his brother, older brother, Richard, rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? So rest in peace, Otis as well, man. But it was their crew, man, and they were older than me. They were older than me, but I at that time I had after I stopped fucking with Sonic Sound, I started fucking hanging back with the Zulus and shit. I started, wilding out, doing shit like that. Went to the one of the wildest hip hop stories. It's crazy, man. Some shit jumped off from Mount Vernon, man. But anyway, that was the craziest hip hop part of it was a wild day in hip hop when that shit jumped off, man. And it's a story I'll get into later. But anyway, so I stopped hanging with the Zulus and shit after that shit because it was just crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? And basically, I want to tell the story so fucking bad. But anyway, so I went and auditioned for Kenny and them crew, the Fearsome Crew, that was their name. And I said that same rhyme. Hello, my mellows, my name is Joey, transmitted to you. Boom, I was in. It was right. They played Take It to the Mardi Gras, Bob James shit. I was in. So there they started, they always working, but Charles Messengers and all of that type shit, mailroom shit. And started building speakers, man, mixes and buying all of this shit, man. And, we had our crew, man. It was Garfield, shout out Garfield, DJ Molecule. He was like the main DJ, then you had Courtney Cool Dice, you had Layton, he was doing his thing. I forgot his La Touch or something like that was his name. Shout out to the Dixons, real talk. But then you had Kenny, who was an MC Romance. You had me, Joey Joe. You had Roger, Mr. Freeze. You had Treadway, I think his name was Apache Kid. And you had this cat off and on named Patrick, Mr. Bond and shit. So once we solidified that's our crew, boom, Fearsome Crew. You know what I mean? We was doing our thing. So the biggest moment with that was this shit in Brooklyn. Shout out. So we doing local house parties and shit. And then finally we get this Treadway had lived from Brooklyn to the Bronx or some shit like that. Or he had people in Brooklyn, whatever it was. So he had this spot where we was going to jam. It was this club called the Zoo on Nostrand Avenue. Now, being in the boroughs, if you kind of mainly stuck with your borough, I mean, Harlem and the Bronx fucked with each other more to me than like Brooklyn and the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? It was just closer. But anyway, so we don't know nothing about this shit. So we all excited because they putting flyers and I mean, it's a big shit. And it's Grandmaster Flowers. Now, Grandmaster Flowers is where Grandmaster Flash got his name, Grandmaster part. Grandmaster Flowers was like huge in Brooklyn. I mean, huge. You know what I mean? I think he was huge. I think he did something with Open Shea Stadium. I mean, he's huge. Something, if I'm not mistaken, he did something at Shea Stadium, not mistaken. I don't want to mix up, but I think he was, I'm not sure, but he was huge. You know, shout out to Grandmaster Flowers. Now, this part of history, didn't know that. I mean, I remember it, but it didn't click for a minute. So we all excited, man. We gonna bring our equipment. So the flyers come out, man. I'm going to Evander at this time, and I'm hanging out, messing around with Sweet and Sour, who was down with the Herculoids, Cool Herc and them and shit. She had a boyfriend, but I was still, you know, it was some wild shit. She went, she went this. What was this guy named Rusty or some shit? Nigga wore the Godfather hat. Nigga was older cat. Nigga was, it's nigga was. He had on. Nigga was cuffing that shit. So I remember going sneaking, and then her sister Yvonne went with, I think, Mr. Rob and shit from the Fantastic Four. So I remember one day he was there and shit, and then I was there with Estelle. That was her name. Shout out, man. So that was another connect where I had with her. So we see the flyers, man. The flyers come out. Now, the fucking flyers got Bronx versus Brooklyn. So I'm like, nigga. So it's just, I mean, why even put that shit like that, man? We niggas, we just the fearsome crew. We gonna take the whole borough. We gonna take the whole, we acting like we fucking cold crush or some shit. We gonna take the whole borough and go to Brooklyn. Okay. So I was like, damn, why niggas put that shit? So everybody was kind of upset. So we went, now, we got our equipment down there. It was probably 13 of us, man. We got our equipment down there by somebody's uncle with the van and shit. So we go to the club and shit. We set our shit up, man. They go on, grab us some, flowers. And at that time, I didn't know he was that big I didn't know he was legendary like that. I heard the name, but like once again, and he played a lot of more disco-ish type. Love Is the Message was like one of his favorite joints. So, we go on, they go on, and then we go on. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever, though. So we go on, and I think we go on first. Or whatever. But no, I don't know what the fuck happened. But I know the shit changed my fucking life. So anyway, listen. So we go, and then I'm flowing, we rocking the shit, boom. And then after that, we get ready to get off, and then Grandmaster Flowers comes to me and tells me to stay on. And he playing something, and I start rhyming off of that. Boom. You know what I mean? He's playing something for a little while, and I'm flying now. So you got, come on, man, that's just a beautiful start lining up for me. And I didn't have no idea at that time that I'm flowing, Grandmaster Flowers is DJing, and I'm rapping over it. Come on, how fly is that? So then after that, little young Brooklyn cat comes up to me. He's like, yo, y'all niggas was dope, but they're gonna jump y'all after the jam. So I'm like, yo, what? He's like, yeah, the niggas is gonna shit. He said, you better tell your crew, niggas is gonna fuck y'all up after this shit. So I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So this is Hip Hop 50, baby. Let's get it. So I start telling them, yo, niggas, you know what I mean? And they listen. I'm like, I'm telling y'all, niggas, this shit. So after that, man, we start walking out, and we telling everybody kind of like, yo, roll together, because now we got to take the train home. This is some warrior shit. The van is gone. We leaving the equipment. The deal was the equipment's supposed to be picked up tomorrow, some shit. So we fucking around, and we start walking and shit, trying to go toward the subway, man. And Courtney, who was just like the leader, was telling everybody, y'all niggas just, boom, stick together and shit. We telling Mr. Bond, this nigga done wore a white three-piece suit with a big Godfather hat, Jamaican cat, Patrick. Yo, nigga, he's walking the blood club. I'm like, all right, next thing I know, I see something white, high-stepping past me, holding his hat in his fucking hand. This nigga running. I turn around, it's like probably 60 to 70 Brooklyn cats chasing this nigga. So we start running, nigga. So some other cats is like, yo, run this way. So we following these niggas we don't even know. And Courtney's like, yo, niggas, why them niggas is taking y'all somewhere else. So we listen to Courtney, we run the other way, get to the subway. There's cops all outside the subway. Seeing these niggas run after the cops is looking at us laughing like, yo, you know, fuck we gonna do? They take Roger's jacket and shit. It's this nigga had, yo, it was just a wild fucking night, man. And I think that kind of broke their spirit of, not Kenny, because Kenny went on to go to Howard and fuck with music, but the rest of them, because our equipment ended up getting jacked and shit. I think it was a whole setup. So, you know, that was the end of the fearsome crew as far as I'm concerned, man. So from there, I'm still in the van. I start fucking with Greg Ski and diving more deeper into me doing more shit like the Ecstasy Garage and T Connection and all that type of shit. And me and him, it was just him. He was the DJ, I was the MC. We had routines, man. Just fly shit. And my biggest night in hip hop was gonna be this show at the Audible Ballroom. It's gonna be huge. It was everybody was there. And Cold Crush, we was gonna go on, I think before Cold Crush. And Greg had to hook up through Mean Gene, Theodore's brother. So Greg had to hook up through Mean Gene, and that's how he, got the Ecstasy Garage and all that shit. And we was able to do all that type of shit. So the night at the Audubon, man, we backstage, man, and for some reason Greg and JDL start arguing. And I'm like, man, I don't know what it was about. And I talked to Greg recently, he said that's what they used to do. They go, and I'm like, yeah, but so they arguing, man. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So this nigga, JDL, Jerry D. Lewis, this nigga, it's like, if they go on, I ain't going on. So I'm like, oh, this nigga, he starts yelling that shit. Like, I bet you won't go on. No, he's telling, first of all, well, he's telling Greg, I bet you ain't going on. I bet you ain't going on. Greg's like, yeah, I bet I am. So then he starts yelling, if y'all go on, I ain't going on. So he's looking at Kaz, he's yelling this shit. So Kaz, and I messaged Kaz this shit, and told him the story. But anyway, he's looking at Kaz, like, Kaz is like looking at me and looking at Greg, and we little, remember, we little niggas. It's like, I guess y'all niggas ain't getting on. And it was just the most devastating shit, man. You know what I mean? And we went and sat in the back and shit, and this reporter came from the Village Voice and interviewed us, man. That was about the plus of that night and shit. Never did read that article. But me and Greg, we was homies. We was little, man, like 4'11". I was 4'11" in high school. So we started hitting clubs, man. And one of the spots we wanted to tackle, like I mentioned, the T Connection was one of my favorite spots. But then again, the Fever, I was definitely a Fever believer. I was up in that bitch Tuesday through fucking Sunday. I was up in that bitch. I was in that bitch. So the first time me and him tried to go, man, we little and shit. So it was a dude at the door, rest in peace, named Mandingo, big black dude. And actually he's in the movie, what is it, a movie? Is it Beach Street? There's one, no, Crush Groove. It's Crush Groove. He's in Crush Groove when they do the Fever scene in the South. So, shout out Fever. So we try to go, we walk up, and now I think I had a hard time getting in the T Connection with Richie T. This was even worse, because this was even more older than us. You know what I'm saying? So we walk up there, I'm trying to do my tippy toe shit to stretch to look bigger and shit. And the Mandigo's like, nah, y'all little niggas ain't getting in, man. I'm like, come on. So we go back downstairs and we determined we're going to get up in this bitch because it's popping, man. If you got up in the Fever back then, this shit is just popping. This girls, I know it's popping. So we look around, we keep seeing, and it's for some reason, I pick up and he's not at the door. Somebody else is there. So I'm like, yo, Greg, come on, let's go. So we try again. As soon as we get there, he's like, yo, y'all niggas. I'm like, man. He said, I'm telling y'all niggas, man, don't, so he got like, because we trying to be sneaky and shit. So about 30-40 minutes go by, an hour, man. Me and this Greg, we're gonna probably walk off because you know we ain't getting in. So for some reason he comes downstairs, man, to peek out the door because you went in and then you went up the stairs. And he's yo, little nigga still out here. He's like, yo, come on up, man. And he let us in and shit. And that was the first night in the Fever, man, of many fucking nights. And from there, I never, once again, just like Richie T, man, Dig always let me in. Sal was always able to get in the Fever. Back, I had a ball of the fucking Fever, man. So, once it became that type of things, you had, rap records by then. You know what I mean? You had, cats had to start recording and shit by then. And that even seemed far-fetched, back then. That seemed far-fetched. And I know the first spark of that we got was the Fatback Band. I think it was King Tim or something like that, and had this little rap part in it. And we was excited about that shit. You know what I mean? It was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? But then Rapper's Delight comes out. And the first week, first day or two, and then for about a week, and this I don't hear nobody really tell the story. I don't hear nobody really tell how we really felt. I think Kaz might have said it, but I don't. Other than that, I don't. We hated that shit. When Rapper's Delight first came out, you heard it from NippLife. I was there. We hated it. We tried to boycott it. It was, if you caught, it was about 2 weeks that this show, about a week and a half almost. It didn't last long now, kid. Don't get me wrong. But for about the first week and a half or 2 weeks, that shit was like trash to us, man. And I remember the T Connection. I remember Kaz be like, yo, fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying? And because what we felt was, we knew it wasn't authentic. We knew it wasn't Bronx shit. We knew it wasn't us. We knew it wasn't, not saying Jersey Cassidy's Kaz, but we knew homie, rest in peace, had used Kaz rhyme. You know what I mean? To see it, we knew that part. We knew that they just wasn't us, and we felt that if anything, it should have been, somebody else, man, more authentic, but once again, it was a gift and a curse, because after that, it just bloomed and there was nothing we can do, and we embraced it, like I said, but the first week and a half, we hated that shit. I'm telling you that shit was not, we was like, come on with that shit, man. Fuck is these cats? You know what I'm saying? But because Sugar Hill, we thought it was Harlem. All right, boom. But then we was like, wait a minute, these cats is some Jersey. Not that Jersey cats, don't get it wrong, but it was just their whole image wasn't us, man. You know what I'm saying? So, but it is what it is, and it turned out to introduce the world of hip hop, which is great, man. You know what I mean? But it hurt for a little while, but we kind of felt violated. So that just kept going on. After that, you had Furious Five, and then you had Funky Four. Yeah, Funky Four, I think they recorded first. You know what I mean? And then it's, once again, you got Pumpkin playing the drums for Enjoy, and all of these, and Profile, and some other, whatever, all of that, Treacherous 3, Feel My Heartbeat, all of that, it just, and then it became a time where, rap records were long, you know what I mean? They were there because you had like 7-8 minutes, you know what I mean? So they weren't in like the song form they are now. You know what I'm saying? It was their routines, but it was just different, man. And that's what made certain crews stand out. And I think that's what I'm gonna talk about in episode 3. The routines, you had the Funky Four, which is probably one of my favorites, man. DJ Breakout. I know, no disrespect. Flash, was probably the best DJ, but Breakout was more, you would see Breakout, around my way, Boston Road and all that. You would see him, you know what I'm saying? So Uh, but you know, Fantastic Five. You know, the Grant was the Theodore. You know what I mean? Tony Tone. I mean, Charlie Chase. Uh, you know, it was just a beautiful time to see these crews and just to see them develop. Like I said, it was um, it went from the DJ to Yes Yes Y'all to the Beat Y'all to lyrics to cats going to dictionaries, encyclopedias, rhyme books, and then it went to nursery rhyme shit for a minute, and that shit got corny. You know what I mean? Not corny, but it just played out. Then just it just went, and then routines. You know, like the Cold Crush had the routines, man. You know what I mean? Romantic Five. Come on, they had the routines. Funky Four. You know, Flash on the beatbox, man. Imagine being at a jam and Flash and them is doing that shit. Imagine being at the T Connection. Imagine being at Bronx River Center at the Zulu anniversary and they doing that shit live, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's beautiful. I mean, imagine seeing Grandmaster Flash cut Ain't No Half Stepping at the T Connection and spin his white Kango around. You know, so those are stuff I witnessed and breathed, and it's just a beautiful thing to see the culture where it is. You know what I mean? As far as hip hop, as far as the positivity in it, and the greatness it's doing, and the way it's changing lives and giving people jobs and opportunities, and you know, and just saving, you know, whatever it's doing. If it's healing you, if it's making you feel good, as long as it's positive, it's a great thing, man. So stay tuned for episode 3. You know what I mean?